Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to replace the rear brake pads on this 06 Cadillac. I'm going to start by removing the tire. We've already got the car jacked up, blocked, ready to go. Try to keep all the nuts in one good pile so that you don't lose your nuts. Notice that I wear gloves to protect my fingers, because by having dirty fingers and going on a date later on, that don't go good with my wife. Okay. Take tire and set it aside. Now we're down to taking these brake pads off. I grabbed myself a 13mm socket, and I'll loosen up both of these caliper bolts. Got that one cracked loose. That one's a little tighter, but we got it. This brake job's pretty basic, and you don't want to lose these bolts, so put them over here with your lug nuts. Another thing I like to do is I like to take the caliper off and set it on top of a bucket or something so that we don't let that hose there hanger. My bucket. Today I'll be using an empty jug of chlorine. It makes for a nice little table there. Check that out, that's pretty good. And we're remove this caliper. You can see that we got a lot of wear. I can see a little bit of metal on that caliper, excuse me, not caterpillar. And your brake shoes. That one don't look that bad. Got another 10 miles left on it. And the inside looks a little worse. That's where that metal was coming from. Oh yeah, this guy here, he overdid it. He's down to bare metal. Indicator's gone. Everything's gone. Pads. Even this rotor's gone. So we'll get with the owner of the car and see what he wants to do, whether he wants to replace this one rotor or sell the car.
That's okay.
Okay, so the owner of the car, Luke, had said, yeah, let's go with a new rotor, because when I get this rotor off here, you all see that, yes, the rotor is shot. Now, I was watching another YouTube video, and that's why I'm doing my own video. And in that video, the guy, the jerk, was banging on his rotor here to get it off after he had taken off the drive nut right here. Well, what I know by things is that that nut is not holding this cap on. What's holding the cap on, y'all, is this star-driven bolt right here. So get the proper star driver and let's get this thing out of here. Because when you remove this bolt here, you'll notice that your rotor cap is now ready to come off. The only thing holding this back now is the bracket here that will take off now. We'll set those bolts over there. And let's figure out what size socket we got back here. These are going to be a little tighter than everything else I've been taking off. And I do need to get a socket for this side. So we'll just put it on pause there and we'll be right back. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so I got myself a breaker bar, 1/2-inch drive, and an 18mm socket will fit this thing. We're just going to crack loose these 2 back bolts back here. Okay, that cracks that one loose. They're a little tight. Okay, guys. Now that I have broken them loose, I'll put a regular ratchet on there. And get this 18mm socket on there and get these things removed. Okay, that one's loosened. And if you were to hurt yourself while working on your car, try not to curse. That's the bad thing. You know, when your wrench slips and you say, oh shit, and stuff like that. It ain't good to let the kids hear you cursing out like that. And we'll take that bolt out. And we'll get this bolt here out. Set all these bolts together so we don't lose them. Neighbors, hello neighbor. And it's as easy as that. That comes right off, and you can see all the metal shavings that from the rotor. And that's why we're going to replace that rotor. That's a good move to replace that rotor. And wiggle this thing a little bit. And off comes the rotor. It's as easy as that. We're going to go replace this rotor, and we'll get back with you guys in just a little bit. Thank you. Okay, so we picked up this brand new rotor. What we're going to do is we're going to use some brake cleaner on the face of the rotor to remove the packing grease. Packing grease is not good for the brakes. So we'll remove the packing grease off the face, and then just hitting the inside where your emergency brakes get applied to the inside of the rotor. And that's a good job on this side. Try not to put too many fingerprints on your rotor after you clean it. And we'll clean the opposite side. You don't have to worry much about the center part over here because the brake pads won't be riding on that. Okay, that's all nice and clean. Now pick up our rotor and remember to align that pilot hole with the thread hole. I'm going to slip that rotor on like that. Once the rotor's on, you'll get the screw, and we'll put that right back in like that. And just tight enough to hold it in place. It's good. After we get that on, now we'll put our caliper bracket on. Check them, make sure that they're moving in and out really nice for us. If not, we take them apart and maybe put a little grease on them. Okay, guys. Let's go back over that like that. Okay, let's take a break here for a second. I'll adjust my nuts and bolts. back on this here. I just wanted to make sure that I had the right size bolts. You got two different size bolts. The smaller bolt will go in the bottom. Smaller meaning the length of the bolt. And we got that one started. And the larger one in length goes on the top. And we'll get our ratchet. We'll get those things tightened up. And then as far as torque specifications on these bolts, we need to follow torque specification from the dealer. We're just going to snug these up really good, because that's how they were when I took them off, and it gets the job done. I'll snug that one up. We'll snug this one up. And then we'll put the breaker bar back on there and give it a good crank. Give it about 80 pounds. Okay, there's a good and tight. Now we'll take our brake caliper here. And we'll make sure that this is all nice and clean in here. We're going to be compressing this back in with a C-clamp. We usually take one of the old brake pads, slide that in there like that. Grab your C-clamp. Slip that C-clamp in there like this. I see that this one's really protruding out quite a bit because of the wear that was on those old set of brakes. Kind of like overextended it, which isn't a good thing. And I do have the cap off of the master cylinder. with a rag over it. So that it relieves the pressure. Let's see if I can get that to go back in a little bit with this breaker bar without causing any issues. So that I can get that C-clamp on there and make it easy on myself. It's not wanting to cooperate. Remember what I told you back in the video, no curse words. May have to go to the shop and get me a bigger C-clamp. Nope. Well, it fits now because I don't have that brake pad in there. But I must have got that in there a little bit with that screwdriver, with that breaker bar, because now she fits on. So now slowly walk that back in. And we'll take a break from the video and I'll come back with you once I get this in. Just slowly bring that in. Okay, so we got that piston back in, got it flush. Try to get it as flush as you can. And now we're going to put the brake pads into the holder over here. What we're going to do is we're going to put the indicators. I like to put the indicators on the inside. So we'll go like this, and we'll snap them right in place. Click in like a set of magnets. Okay. Those are in there real nice. Take our caliper, and yes, I did clean this. We got all blown out, got all the dust off there because there was some metal shavings. Made sure all those metal shavings were off there before we compressed it then, because there were metal shavings. That's all cleaned up nice. Everything's cooperating. And that goes over that very nicely. We'll take and we put our top bolt on. Push that in there like that. And they don't have a hex spot where it slides into like other cars do. This one doesn't. That holds the nut from actually spinning. And sometimes I take and I put a wrench back in there and you got to hold it. I see that these are holding pretty good. We'll take and we'll tighten that back up. Torque specifications, once again, I'm just going to snug these up real good. Just like they were when I took them off. They were just nice and snugged. And I call that snugged. That's about it on that one. All a done deal. And that's how we changed the rotor in the brake shoes on this Cadillac. Well, we're going to put the wheel back on. Once we had the wheel all back on, we dropped the car down. Make sure you pump your brakes, because if you put the car in reverse or drive, you'll notice that the brakes will go down to the floor. So pump them up about 3-4 times until you get a good high pedal, and happy braking. I think this job is a well done job. We'll see you next time.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm in the car. Oh, this only took about 2 pumps. I got a very high brake pedal at this time. Put my seatbelt on and take this car for a test ride. Always check your brakes before you leave the driveway. We have a good set of brakes here. We're just taking it for a test ride. Right back. As you can see, we made it home safely. Brakes work excellent. This is a great job. Thanks, guys. See you next time.